If your twins spend any time at school or in a social setting, you already know what happens constantly. They get lumped together as, quote, the twins, treating like a matching set, and sometimes never really seen as two separate people at all. Today, we're talking about how to handle the twins as a social label.
Welcome to the Dad's Guide to Twins podcast, the podcast that'll help you survive and thrive as a father of twins. Now, here's your host, the author of the book, The Dad's Guide to Twins, Joe Rawlinson.
Hey everybody, this is Joe Rawlinson. Welcome back to the show. I'm glad that you're here with me today. As always, you can find me on the web at dadsguidetotwins.com, where you'll find all previous podcast episodes and tons of resources to help you along your twin parenting journey. Today's show is brought to you by my merch store, twintshirtcompany.com, where you'll find tons of t-shirts designed for twin dads. That's us. Creative, unique, and funny, entertaining designs of shirts just for us, twin dads. Head on over to twintshirtcompany.com. All right, let's talk about, quote, the twins as a social label. My girls have dealt with this for many years. It has been one of the more surprising parenting challenges I didn't fully anticipate when we found out that we would be having twins. I knew raising two kids at the same time would be busy. I didn't know how much emotional energy would go into helping them each feel seen as individuals. Let's be honest about why other kids call your twins the twins. You know, it's not necessarily malicious. It's just easy. You know, when two people look alike, dress alike, show up together, and share a last name, the human brain naturally groups them together. Other kids are working with limited information and taking the path of least resistance. That doesn't make it any less frustrating for your twins, of course, but understanding the why can help you frame it for them in a way that doesn't make the world feel hostile. It's just lazy sometimes. One of the most common versions of this for my girls is what let's call it the name shotgun. A classmate spots one of my daughters, and rather than taking a guess, just fires off both names in a row. Boom, boom. It's part hedge, it's part greeting. It's entirely maddening if you're the one on the receiving end. My girls absolutely noticed it, and they don't like it. They're not impressed. They wonder why people can't learn their names. Here's something that I've watched play out again and again firsthand with my own twin girls. The way they respond to being misidentified or lumped together changes as they get older, and it goes through some pretty distinct phases. First is the correction phase. This usually comes first. Your twins will actively correct anyone who gets it wrong every single time, with emphasis. This is actually healthy, even when it feels exhausting to witness. They're asserting themselves and making it clear that the distinction matters. The next phase is the selective response phase. That tends to come later. My girls eventually reached a point where they would simply not respond unless someone used their correct name. No correction, no frustration, just silence. If you call out the wrong name, you don't exist. It's honestly a pretty effective strategy, and it is kind of funny to watch in action. Both phases are healthy forms of self-advocacy. What you want to avoid is the in-between phase where they start to just accept the confusion and stop caring whether people see them as individuals. That's the one worth paying attention to. The best defense against the, quote, twins label at school or in social settings is a strong sense of self that starts at home. So here are some things that have worked for us. Use their names, not the twins, as much as possible. This may sound obvious, and if you've listened to past podcasts, you know I'm a huge fan of treating each of the twins as individuals. But even as parents, it's easy to slip into the twins did this or ask the twins. My wife and I try to be intentional about this. When you model individual identity at home, they carry that expectation out into the world. Next is to celebrate their individual interests separately. If one daughter loves art and the other loves soccer, lean into that. Talk about those interests separately, sign them up for different activities when they want to, and let each of them have things that are just theirs. Those individual passions become part of how they introduce themselves to others. Give them each their own space to talk. In a family with twins, it's easy for conversations to happen in pairs. Make time to talk to each of your twins one-on-one, even just for a few minutes a day. They'll share things individually that they might not say as a pair. Let them dress differently if they want to. This can go either way depending on your kids. Some twins love dressing alike, others hate it. Follow their lead. If they want to be more visually distinct, support that. It gives other kids one fewer reason to default to treating them as a single unit. I noticed my girls pushing back on being grouped together pretty early on. It turns out that instinct is a healthy one. Research from the American Psychological Association shows that twins who develop strong individual identities alongside their twin bond tend to have better emotional well-being and social adjustment over time. The key, according to psychologists, is what's called individuation. This is a process of each twin forming a clear sense of who they are as a separate person. This doesn't mean pulling them apart or downplaying the twin relationship. It just means making sure each child has a clear answer to the question, who am I? That goes beyond just being one of the twins. You can help your twins articulate their own identity. For example, ask each twin separately, what's one thing you're really good at that's just yours? Role play how to handle being called the wrong name so they feel prepared, not caught off guard. Praise them by name for specific individual traits, not as a pair. Let them each pick one activity, hobby, tradition that belongs only to them. Validate the frustration directly. That would bug me too. Here's what you can do. One of the most practical things you can do is to help your twins have a few simple, confident responses ready when someone gets things wrong. Not a lecture, not a meltdown, just a clear, calm correction they feel good delivering. For younger twins, something as simple as, I am Emma, not Olivia, said with a smile is plenty. For older kids, you might help them practice saying something like, we're actually pretty different once you get to know us. Or just a calm, that's my sister, I am, fill in the blank of her name. The goal is confidence, not confrontation. My girls have landed on their own versions of this over time. One tends to correct immediately and directly. The other, as I mentioned, simply doesn't respond until the right name is used. Both approaches work. What matters is that they feel empowered to handle it rather than just absorbing it passively. Other kids can be forgiven for taking a while to tell your twins apart. Adults don't get the same grace period. If a teacher or a coach is consistently getting your twins' names wrong or treating them as interchangeable, it's worth a gentle conversation. You don't need to make it a big deal. A simple note or a quick chat at the start of the school year goes a long way. Our daughters are twins, but they're different kids. Here's a little about each of them. Most teachers genuinely appreciate the heads up and will make the effort. Those who don't probably need a follow-up conversation. Some twin parents also find it helpful to put their twins in different classrooms. When school policy allows, this gives each child a space where they're known as an individual first and a twin second. It's not right for every family, but it's worth considering if your twins are struggling with the identity piece at school. So here's the balance that I always try to strike with my girls. Yes, being grouped together as the twins can be genuinely frustrating, and their feelings about that are completely valid, but being a twin is also one of the most unique and special things about them. They have a built-in best friend who has literally never not known them. They share a bond that most people would never fully understand from the outside. The goal isn't to escape being twins. The goal is to be fully seen as individuals who also happen to share something extraordinary. When they're frustrated, I acknowledge it, and then I remind them that the people who matter most will always take the time to see them clearly. Those are the friendships worth investing in. I want to give you some genuine encouragement here. The name shotgun phase, or the constant grouping, being treated as a unit rather than two people, it does ease up as your twins get older. As they develop stronger individual personalities, different friend groups, different interests, and different reputations in their own right, the people around them start to see them more clearly too. Your job right now is to make sure they enter each new phase with a strong enough sense of self that social labels don't stick. The foundation is built at home, in your family, in individual conversations and separate celebrations, and the constant reminder that each of them is a whole, complete, remarkable person who also happens to have a twin. So if you've already faced some of these challenges of social labels, of your twins being called the twins or having identity issues, how have you handled that with their school, their friends, or their social situations? I would love to hear about it. You can email me, joe@dadsguidetotwins.com, or you can reach out to me on Instagram or X @twindadjoe, and I would love to hear from you. If you found the show helpful and you know somebody else who's expecting twins or raising twins, would you do me a favor and please share this episode with them? I'd really appreciate it. The best way to support Dad's Guide to Twins is by checking out our merch store at twin-t-shirt-company.com, where you can pick up t-shirts for your entire twin family. Once again, that's twin-t-shirt-company.com. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.